Southwestern Legacy Insurance Group and this show presented by our company. Tell us a little bit how life insurance and final expense coverage specifically plays a role into people's financial wellness, especially if they do something like whole life, accomplishing two goals with it. And then it's an investment as well as protecting the ones you love.
Yeah. And I'll even throw another component in there as well, which is long-term care planning, which it can be a huge part of legacy planning because it's protecting your legacy as well. So it plays a huge part. I always say I talk a lot to people about what do you want to do in life? But one of the questions I ask is, what do you want to leave behind? I work a lot with families, but I also have a specialization in working with women who don't have kids because I'm married, but I don't have children. I've chosen not to. And so I understand that kind of world and what they're trying to do. And so legacy planning is huge for them too, because what are we doing with this money? What kind of impact do we want to make with the money that we have? And so insurance can be a huge part of it. It's hard to get money available when a loved one passes. So if a loved one passes, it's not like you can just call up their broker and say, hey, I have the power of attorney, give me $10,000 so I can start their funeral planning. You can't it's very difficult to do that. You're going through custodians, you might be calling Fidelity and getting them the death certificate. It's not that easy of a process. And so having just one company to call and say, here's the death certificate, send me the death benefit, moves a lot faster. And so you don't have to come out of pocket necessarily for that. And your loved one wanted you to use that money and put the rest of their estate for your use, for your growth.
If you were to give two main tips for our listeners on how to be better with their one vision of financial, what would be your two main tips?
The first one is to really think about your life mission. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to, like I said, are we trying to retire early? Are we trying to take as many vacations and have as much time with family as possible? Are we trying to just live a happy, healthy life, work till 65? Like, we need to kind of know what we're trying to accomplish. It's really hard. Most of us are, and this is another one that you've probably heard a million times. We get in the car, and if we don't know where we're going, there's no journey, right? Because you don't know where you're going. We go through life just kind of not having a vision of what we want. So having a vision, even if it changes, let's say you get to 50 and you go, I'm good, actually, I don't want to retire. That's okay. But you have to have something we're going for in order to put some strategies in place so that you can kind of envision what your life will look like, right? So having a why of what you're trying to accomplish on your financial journey is really important. The other thing I would say is to really start to make yourself accountable for your money, because nobody is going to do that for you, unfortunately. I can't look at your credit card every month and go, you didn't spend your money properly. Like, nobody's going to respond well to it. So unfortunately, when it comes to your spending and what you're spending your money on, you do have to make yourself accountable. So I always say the first little habit that you should stack onto something else, to borrow from James Clear, essentially is to find a time that you can just look at your credit card once a week, 5 minutes, maybe when you're drinking coffee on Thursday after a run, or whatever it is, that you're stacking that habit, because you don't have to sit there and make yourself miserable at what you spent your money on. Just making yourself aware of what you're spending your money on is life-changing.
Yeah, what doesn't get calendar doesn't get done. So if you don't ever put it on the calendar, you're never going to do that.
You're never going to look at it. And then you have clients who come to you and go, I've been spending $400 a month on blah, blah, blah subscription that I thought I canceled. Yeah, because you're not looking at it. Gosh, I mean, doesn't that make you mad when you figure that stuff out? Well, who are you really mad at? Yourself, because you didn't look at it.
Right.
And so you spent a lot of money on something you didn't even realize you were spending on.